Manifesting while feeling resentful, having resentment, having anger. That is something that, some people that are manifesting a specific person have to deal with, especially if there are previous experiences with your specific person that maybe they've hurt you, said something painful. And it's a question I get a lot. This question in particular came from one of my most recent videos, and I said that if you put in the comments a video you would like recorded, that I would do so, even if it was a question about your own circumstances. So in this video, we're going to talk about manifesting through resentment when we're experiencing it. If you'd like to work with me in any way, shape, or form, all of that information is in the drop box below, including all the information about my 3 channel memberships. That is channel memberships that we hang out together several times a week. They are worth their banging buck. But again, in the drop box below. And if you're new here, how you doing? I'm Kimberly. And I don't always record in this, whatever this is called, I forget. Vertical? No. Vertical. I don't always record in vertical, but today it's a must for various reasons. I'm sure you don't care. My name is Kimberly, and hello, how are you? If you like to get what you want, and you like to get it in a timely fashion, and you like to know everything there is to know about manifestation, then you're just like me, and we should be friends. So why don't you subscribe and let me know in the comments below that you subscribed? Because if I see that comment, you will hear back from me. Okay, let's get to it. So I am making this video out of from the comment. Could you consider talking about, number 1, fighting resentment towards your person? I revise almost daily, but his behavior words have taken a toll on the remains of my self-esteem. I love him unconditionally, but sometimes it's really hard. I recently reacted in 3D, and the result was I lashed out, crying, some screaming, but nothing extreme. And now he has a reason to see me as a crazy person. I'm coming back to that, so drop a pin in that one. Number 2, how not to compare myself with 3P when she is shown as impeccable, perfect, beautiful, successful. I'm going to pin that one too. Number 3, imaginal acts. Some say we should only imagine future, not go back to memories. Sometimes it is hard to imagine good future after I think you mean to say years of receiving shit in the 3D. I love our wonderful memories, but they make me feel more lack of what he no longer offers. Hand squeezing walks, hour-long conversations. How to get past that? First and foremost, and this is for anybody manifesting a specific person that you already have a connection with, that you've already intermingled with. Those of you manifesting new love, this really isn't a concern of yours unless, of course, you have a pattern or you have a belief about relationships, which I am assuming that you are choosing differently for yourself. So new love can come in and we don't throw our limited beliefs on it. But that is a different video coming, just saying. So stay tuned for that. We will have a new love specific person manifestation video coming. Now, for any of you out there who are manifesting someone who you have had an encounter with where maybe they hurt your feelings, obviously, I'm assuming you all know, but I'll drop the disclaimer anyway. I'm not talking about physical or emotional, mental abuse, right? I don't support that. I don't want you to experience that. So we're not talking, though. Those are the situations we get our asses out of before we concern ourselves with manifesting it. Just laying that little foundation. Now, to those of you who have had maybe unfavorable moments in the past with your specific person, and maybe they have said things to you that have hurt your feelings, maybe experiencing the lack of who they used to be. It hurts. I know it does. It's painful. But before you start this specific person journey, authenticity is a must. I don't think enough people say that in this community, but let me just keep it real with you. Your authentic answers matter. You will not outrun your higher self, your subconscious mind. So in other words, you can't fool it. You believe what you believe. And in order to change that, there is a willingness to be a different self. There is a willingness to open yourself to the idea of consciously becoming a new version of yourself. That technically you already are that version of yourself. You just need to place your awareness on being that. Now, when we have had previous encounters that we are holding resentment on, listen, let's just keep it real. It's not always easy to just pretend something didn't happen. And from my experience, it's not that you necessarily have to. It's not that you have to just never ever think about the past again. Your understanding of conscious manifestation, I believe, is what helps anyone and everyone manifest through resistance. Now, don't misunderstand that sentence. Manifesting through resistance does not mean we need to be sitting and thinking about all the past transgressions all the time. But I feel that in order to do it, in order to sincerely do it and bring in a better version of your specific person where you experience a relationship that truly fulfills you, knowing who the hell you are and what you are worth is a must. It is a must. We pinned, now he has a reason to see me as a crazy person. Here is one of the foundations of manifestation. This is a must to understand this. No one in your reality has free will. That thinking in of itself, that your person now thinks of you as a crazy person, tells me you're still viewing people in your reality as though they have free will. Now, don't get me wrong. 3D world, it kind of feels like they have free will. It does. But they are just reflections of you. You know, even that phrase, thought transmission, that I have all sorts of videos on. Even thought transmission can give us a feeling like we're sending signals to their mind. But we're kind of not. We're all one consciousness. We're all the one consciousness. God, universe, high power, source, energy. So even the idea of you sending thoughts to your specific person, that's just really like, I think of it as manifestation fun. But it's the one consciousness giving itself the lived experience of thought transmission. But it's really consciousness giving its own self thought transmission experience as consciousness. There is no separation. And as you understand that, the whole topic of they don't have free will no longer is a battle for you. So I think having the basics of manifestation down are helpful. Understanding there is no free will. There is only one consciousness. Knowing that you are source. These are the foundations that matter. And I know some of us don't want to care about that stuff. We want to just hit fast forward and get our specific person. I know, because I was that person too. But guess what I experienced? Nothing but hot and cold bullshit until that understanding clicked. So don't blow it off like I did. Don't. You're wasting your time. Get the understanding now. You are so powerful. You're handing free will over to your specific person. The comment. All right. So anybody else out there, let me just say, if you're dealing with a third party situation, viewing that third party like they are this impeccable, perfect, beautiful, successful, what does that sentence say? That sentence is saying you're thinking very not highly of yourself, that you feel someone else is above you. So third party people, if you're out there and you're experiencing your specific person with a third party, you need to know that is simply the manifestation of the not good enough belief. It's not because that third party is better than you. Who can be better than you in your own reality? these questions, in particular, this whole comment, is saying very, very clearly, I still don't believe I'm good enough. I don't know that I'm worthy and deserving of a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. And I'm not sure that my specific person can ever be the loving version of himself ever again. That's what they're truly saying. So you have to ask yourself honestly, when we feel that resentment for past experiences, are you open to the idea that they can really change? That you can really bring in a new version of someone? And if you can't say yes to that, okay, we need to start there. You're going to want that understanding. You're going to want that foundation, or else you're going to keep battling. It isn't that you can't know what the past experiences were, because that's it. They're just the past. They're the past out of an infinite number of past memories. I know that sounds weird, but time is not linear. Time feels linear, but it's not. What helps a lot of people move through resentment, at least through my experience in coaching, is realizing the experiences they have had with their specific person, whether they were favorable or unfavorable, were reflections of a particular version of themselves. So in other words, when you've had a crap experience with your specific person, it's much better to view that as two separate people. The shitty version of your person and the more loving version of your person. And when that shitty one has shown up in our reality, they were a reflection of your beliefs, of your state of consciousness. So holding on to those memories as this person has done me wrong, I'm not sure I can trust them again. This is why I say separate them. That loving version of them exists. Every single one of us is unconditional love. So that faithful, loving, respectful version of your person must exist. So when we're feeling the resentment and we're replaying the memories, we have a choice when thoughts come in. We have a choice. Am I going to sit in this, or I'm going to choose to focus somewhere else? Am I going to move my awareness? When we want to move out of resentment, we have to make the choice to move the focus. Again, certainly not in any way trying to invalidate anyone's experiences, right? Feelings are valid. But if we're going to then make the conscious choice to continue manifesting this person, then we make the assumption that we are willing to allow the loving version of that person in. And the way to do that is to move away from the resentment. How do we move away from the resentment? What has helped people I've worked with, like I said earlier, was seeing specific person as two different people. As two different actual entities. I know that sounds weird. And that you're letting that version of your person that hurt you, you're letting that one go. You're willing to see those past memories when they come in, and especially if they're still painful, is seeing them as they don't belong to him either. If you're manifesting a woman, obviously, say her. But they don't really belong to that person. They belong to that reality. And you're pushing away from that reality and stepping into the new. You have to remember that manifestation, especially when we are manifesting love, manifestation, how we bring in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship is by knowing who we are, knowing our worth. Certainly not comparing ourselves to the third parties or any other person in your reality. Certainly not that. See, don't get yourself caught in the trap of replaying and justifying why you're holding on to things. And what I mean by that is I can't, and no coach can, tell you if you should manifest your specific person or not. Only you know what's going to feel too difficult. Only you, as conscious awareness, only you can make that choice for you. There is no situation where there's too much of a past. If your heart really wants to manifest and experience being in a relationship with this person, then that means you are willing to let go of limitations, like the idea of free will, like holding on to past stories, past hurts, being willing to forgive the past. As again, time is not linear. As also a willingness to understand that your specific person and you are both unconditional love. Your true selves are unconditional love. So therefore, a loving, faithful version is an option. This is why I say what has helped other people that I've worked with, and it's helped myself, is seeing the unfavorable version of your specific person is a completely different person than the one you're bringing in. I know it sounds a little cuckoo, but it helped me. See, when I needed to move past some hurt, I wouldn't even focus on specific person. I would bring my focus to just the blank canvas, or sometimes I would throw in Jason Momoa, whatever felt better, so that I could put the focus on the version of me who knew her worth, knew what she deserved. So I could just focus on who I was in the equation. And that's what you want to do instead of getting so wrapped up in what 3D is presenting to you or what it has in the past. Like, again, understanding the basics of manifestation, understanding how we've manifested and experienced some of the things that has led us to even discovering manifestation sometimes can be helpful. Not for us to keep staring at it, but for us to come into the understanding that, wait a minute, I had options in this situation. I just didn't know it, right? When you're not aware that you have unfavorable beliefs, well, then whose fault is it for what we experience? If you weren't aware that you had shitty beliefs when you manifested the unfavorable version of your person, that's not your fault. And in one respect, it kind of isn't their fault either. But I know that can make us feel a little destabilized to think of it that way, because we're all conditioned to push blame, to blame the partners, blame the SPs, or to blame ourselves. And this is a blameless place. This is a blameless mindset. It's forgiveness. It's seeing past 3D physical. It's seeing past it. It's separating it in the mind and knowing and experiencing and thinking as source, which will completely free you from the past and allow you to step into unconditional love. So is it possible to manifest through resentment? Yes. Yes. If you're focusing on the who you really want to be and not taking the 3D so seriously. Now, if you are someone currently having interactions with your specific person and they're not exactly the way you want them to be, my suggestion is to stop labeling them that way. Stop assuming that, well, it's just not here yet. The full thing isn't here yet. We don't want to think that way. From my experience, it's easier to look at reality as always taking you in the direction you want to go, even when you can't see that clearly. So that we stop battling. This shouldn't have to feel like a battle. But when we think someone has free will and they're acting of their own volition, that isn't always helpful. Because they're not. They're reflecting. Again, but this should be from a blameless place. Are you willing to let that go? Are you willing to let go of the concept of free will? I feel it's harder to mix the two in, trying to hang on to the fact that they have free will. So now you're telling the story that they see you as a crazy person. There's options? Your specific person has that option? Not if you are fully in the awareness that they don't have free will. Why are we giving the options? There is no manifestation that is impossible. None. None. Even things that sound like they're super duper impossible, they're not. It's what you're willing to move past, to transcend. Transcending resentment, in one respect, is a mix of understanding that there is no free will. Every single one of us is unconditional love. And we manifest romantic relationships based on our beliefs. And when we think someone is one way, when someone has hurt us, and we start that story that this is who they are now, that's a story we have to be willing to let go of and understand that the 3D might not instantly show you that, but that it will. And your job, as 3D is rearranging, your job is to stay in conviction of who you are. Now, as far as you having an emotional moment, crying, saying something to your person in the 3D, you're human and you're going to have human responses. You can't beat yourself up for that. But before we even think about manifesting while we're holding resentment, having the basics down and understanding manifestation as a whole is going to be really helpful. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and before I forget, whether you should use past memories or new imaginal scenes, the truth, that's just a matter of your own personal opinion. Did that sound right? That sounded weird. Meaning, memories, past experiences, or future lived experiences, they're all coming from the same place. Consciousness, conscious awareness. So it really doesn't matter. Think about it. You could bring up past experiences and change the tone of how you think of it and think of it as an experience you haven't lived yet. All things are possible, meaning you can think of a future experience and think about it and feel it as if you already lived it. All are possible. It's because they're all coming from the same place, though there is no right answer to that question, meaning whatever feels good to you is fine. It's only if you have the fear that thinking of a past memory means you're not going to be able to experience again in the future. However, let me just give you a piece of advice. If you're finding that thinking about past experiences, the good ones, make you feel bad, then it might do you good to come up with a different imaginal scene for the two of you. Just until you transcend that feeling of hurt and resentment.